Thanks for bearing me with all the technical issues that happened just now, everyone. So today we're going to talk about professional development. Have you been struggling with building out your network and really developing real relationships with people that are going to help you grow in your career? Well, this is for you. Today we're going to talk about how to network and what is networking, how to set a goal for your networking, and how to make connections in networking. And I think it's just really important to frame this conversation in your understanding that this can be used both for students and professionals, and that it's key to continually build your network so that you're continually learning and growing in your career. So I just wanted to highlight that for everyone as we get into this. And this was a presentation that I did for you earlier around networking and self-marketing, but I thought that it would be great to just talk directly about networking in this one. So if you listen to this, enjoy. If you're looking at it, there's going to be some PowerPoint slides that you can look at on YouTube to follow along. So what is similar in these pictures? I have myself here, my LinkedIn profile, and my friend Alejandro Salemi's LinkedIn profile up on the screen today. And I wanted to ask, what is similar here? And some of you who are listening to this, you will be able to see it. But the things that are similar and that are really standing out here are the fact that both of me and Alejandro went to University of Florida. And as you can see, she studied in University of Florida 2002. Well, this is the time that both of us studied at the University of Florida. So between 2017 and 2019, we both studied at the University of Florida. And another thing that's really cool that I wanted you all to like look at and see here is that we're both in North Carolina. I've lived in North Carolina now for just over 2 years. Alejandra recently moved to North Carolina as she became a doctoral student at Duke University. So why do I share this? Alejandra went to the same school as me, University of Florida College of Public Health and Health Professions. But the thing is that she graduated in 2019. I graduated in 2020. And I think this is important because yet we have a lot of things in similar. They're going to be a lot of people in your path. They're going to have things in similar, but just it isn't the time for you all to connect. So me and Alejandro went to school. We were never in really close proximity with each other during our schooling time. But that isn't to say that I didn't know who she was or she didn't know who I was, but we just never really had any deep relationships at that point in time. So I wanted to share that here. And I then go on to say that in August of 2022, so we graduated, what is that, 2020. So 2 years later, we reconnected on Instagram. And what I wanted to highlight here is that even though we're both interested in public health and really interested in doing that type of work, the connection that Alejandra sent me was related to yoga. It's something that's not really related to public health, but it's something that she has interest in, that I have interest in. As you can read here, he said, "Oh, I want to join you in this yoga session. This seems so liberating and life-giving." And if that sounds like you and you would like to join the yoga session as well, go to thephmillennial.com/join and you can join there. Definitely a lot of great yoga sessions every Tuesday and Thursday at all levels friendly. But back to the presentation. So I just wanted to highlight that 2 years after we graduated from the same school, not really knowing each other, is when we connected and we really started to create a relationship. And from this, I asked her to be on my podcast. She had a really interesting background with her master's of public health, master's of theological studies, and I thought it would be an insightful conversation just to hear more about her journey and her story and share on my podcast, which is what we did. So another timeline here from August 11th to September 27th is when me and Alejandra sat down. We got the podcast recorded and released. And then October 2nd, when I was picking up my partner from the airport in Raleigh-Durham area, me and Alejandra and my partner met for dinner. And this was the first time that I met Alejandra after 2 years of graduating from the same school together. And what was cool from this was that I invited her to one of my work events, and she was able to attend, as you can see in the picture on the right here. And it's really great because she's new to North Carolina. And this is what networking is all about. It's about making connections with people, for people, to support them in their career and their growth, and as well as you getting support for yourself and your growth in your journey. And one tangible thing that I thought was really cool about this connection was that Latin 19, which is a group that one of my colleagues works with, but I'm not particularly very knowledgeable about them. Alejandro was able to connect with them at at this event, and she really enjoyed the work that they have been doing during the pandemic for the Latinx population in North Carolina. And that might be a very fruitful connection for her. And I think this is important to just share that, like, I supported and shared my platform with Alejandra. I supported just telling her story and helping her out with like creating her platform that she's going to come out with that you'll hear more about in the near future, I'm sure about. But it's just important, like, now that she's got the connection from someone, to make those extra connections, to build those deeper relationships. So I was able to build that deeper relationship 2 years after graduating from the same school as Alejandra, and now she was able to attend this event, and hopefully she's able to build deeper relationships with Latin 19 and other organizations. And this is what's so important about networking. So what is networking? I'll pause here for you to think about it. You can take out your notebook and take some notes and jot down a couple of things that you think are important about networking. So I actually have a very scientific definition for what networking is. So networking is who is a friend, and who is a friend of a friend, and who is a friend of a friend of a friend. And I think this definition is just so important, because too often in networking, do we think it's jargony, or we get anxiety from the situation because we're not really understanding what the goal of networking is, what we're trying to get out of it. But it's so important that you're just continuing to build your network and understand that people that you're friends with or acquaintances with are part of your network, and the people that they know are part of your network. And some smart person somewhere said that I believe you're only 3 degrees separated from someone that you would like to connect with. And as I said in the UF conversation I had earlier, was that thinking about them, and if they wanted to think about going to school in Florida and working at meeting an influential person in Florida, that they're only 3 to 4 connections away from meeting that person and knowing that person and being able to build a relationship. And that's one of the cool things about social media and LinkedIn, particularly right now, is that there's so many opportunities for you to like grow and learn and build and just get to know more people. And if there are any questions while we're going through this, like, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Happy to answer any of the questions that you all do have. So I want you to think about who is your network, your network now, who is in your network. And when you're thinking about these types of things, I want you to think like really deep. So this goes from the people that are in your classroom, that are in your coursework, to the people that are in your program on a broader scale, to people that you might have met going to coffee or going to a conference or connecting through the APHA. There's just so many ways to build a network. Another thing, and I think people underutilize a lot, is a network of professors and just the knowledge and the connections that they have. So just ensure that you're using all your network connections and understanding just how broad your network is, because as I said, you only disconnected from people by usually 3 connections, and you never know how close that next connection is for you to get that advance in your career, whatever the case might be. So what is your network? When I think about what is your network, I think about it in two ways. So the first one is people that you know. And then the second one is people that know you. And I think these are both very important. People that you know is definitely the easier way to do it. Like, you might know of me, you might know of someone else who's doing influential work in public health, you know of your professors. But people that know you, this is a level of networking that I want everyone, all of us, to aspire to be, to like put out good information, so that good and valuable information, so that people are seeing us when we don't even know they're seeing us. Because those are the important things when you're able to share information, and you might think that no one's watching or no one's listening or no one's paying attention, but people are always paying attention. So just know that if you want to share valuable information, it is going to put you in a position, more likely than not, to be able to leverage the information and the connections and the value that you are sharing with a network for people to connect you and bring you opportunities. So just wanted to share that. So what is the goal of networking? The goal of networking is to build meaningful relationships with people in your field or related interest work or related interest or work area in order to grow yourself professionally or broaden your connections, to leverage relationships for your personal and professional career advancement and opportunities. So networking happens in all aspects of our lives, and it happens when we don't think we are networking. Because when we think of networking as building relationships, as creating friendships, as Alejandro reached out to me earlier and we spoke about yoga, not anything related to public health, but those are the type of things that really keep you drawn to each other in a relationship and in building your network together. It's not only the things that are public health related that you're both very interested in, but it's the auxiliary things. Do you both play sports? Do you both listen to the same type of music? Do you play this type of instrument? All of these things are other intersections in our lives that I think are important for us to know in building our networks. Because yes, it's important to have people that are very strictly, okay, there's a public health, I'm thinking of public health, of equity type of work, but it's also important to have people who you enjoy, whether that's going hiking, joining a book club, going out to a club or a bar, whatever that case might be. But it's knowing that the more intersections that you're able to build with people is the stronger that a relationship you're able to build, just generally speaking. So try to leverage those relationships, try to build out your network. And I'm going to share some actionable tips for you to build out your network and send connections and do all of that good stuff in a second. So I spoke a little bit earlier about the degrees in your network, and I wanted to focus on these 3 degrees. The first degree, I'd like to split it in 2. So I'll say half degree and then the first degree. So the half degree is like really the people that are close to you. Yes, there are a lot of people that you know that you're acquaintances with, and I would more say that an acquaintance is like a first level degree, but someone who's a 0.5 degree, someone that's really close to you, someone that is not only an acquaintance, but they're a friend. They're someone that you are comfortable sharing your dreams, your struggles, your challenges, like learning from. And I think it's important to really build out and get those people in number 1. And the cool thing about looking at it as this dissection here and this graph here is that there are intersections in the first person, the first degree that you know, and the second degree that you know, and the second degree and the third degree person. And when you're talking about intentionality and building out your network, you have to think about, who do I know who might be able to connect me to the person that I need to know, or that's going to be supportive in me getting to where I want to get in my personal, professional, lifestyle goals, so really think about that. And you want to be continually working to take people from that third level, that third degree, and bring them into the second degree, and from that second degree bring them into that first degree. And you do that by intentionally creating relationships, by intentionally reaching out to people, by intentionally sharing that you are flattered by their work, that you enjoy their work and you've learned from their work, and just creating that real relationship bond and building that out. And this is not something that has to happen overnight. And I think people get this wrong in networking as well. It's like, when you're building a network, you might have people that you speak to once a week. You might have people that you speak to bi-weekly. You might have people that you speak to monthly or quarterly or semi-annually or once a year. And that is all fine. It's just knowing what you're trying to get out of that person, and as well as like what that person is trying to give you, and knowing where that give and take is. But just know that this is a process. There's no one size fits all. You really have to figure out what works for you, what are your goals, and how you want to approach it. So what is your goal? I want you to think about, what is my goal in networking? Because too often we could just go on LinkedIn or go on Instagram or go on Twitter and just connect with people for connecting's sake. Just say, okay, I'm going to connect with you. Oh, you study public health, connect. And not to say anything is wrong with that. I think that definitely could be helpful, especially early on in your career, when you don't know what you want to do, when you don't have a lot of network connections. Really reaching out to people and building those connections can be important. But I want you to be intentional in understanding, what is your goals? What are the skills that I have? How can the skills that I have and the skill sets I have and the interests that I have all intersect to me to connect, to forward my career I want you to think like, am I networking to get a job? Am I networking to meet someone at this organization? Am I networking to get board of directors for my nonprofit? You have to be very intentional in knowing what you're trying to get out of networking. And I think when you are intentional, then you will get the best result, because then the network and the people that you connect with are going to be the people that you are handpicking that are going to best suit your growth and your development at this point in your career. Intentionality. And I put this slide here for students, but definitely also relevant for professionals. I think, as I was saying in that last slide, we really, really need to be intentional. And I will give you a real life example in a bit when I go onto LinkedIn. But thinking about, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And this could be broad. You can say, okay, I want to work for a health tech company. I want to work for a technology-based company, but do public health work. Okay, I will go through and break through an example of how you can look for people in your network that you might have known of, or people that share similar interests to you on LinkedIn, and make those connections. And I'll give you later on, as well as what you can share in a connection to start building that real relationship, that real network. But you want to do your research, whether it's a certain industry you're interested in getting involved in, whether it's a certain company that you're interested in learning more about, or a department in that company. Just really like do your research on what that is. And as you do more research, you'll refine what you want and you'll learn from that. Don't be scared to reach out to people, especially on LinkedIn, especially on Instagram. Social media has become a great tool for us to use to build our network, to learn more. And I think, especially if you're a student right now, you should be using LinkedIn and Instagram to do informational interviews, to reach out to people, to understand, okay, what were the motivations behind your career in public health? How did you get here? What were the, if you would do this again, what would be 5 things that you think I should do to get to your role in 5 years or less? Whatever the case might be, just be thoughtful in how you're trying to do it, and then connect with people. And I'll give you more examples about that later on. So the keys to networking, as I said, give first. This could be as simple as giving a compliment, to as far as giving a connection or a recommendation. You really want to think about your network in terms of building relationships as opposed to transactional. So how can I be a friend? How can I become a friend of this person is what you should be thinking about when you're hearing, okay, how do I build my network? How do I create better friendships and relationships in the public health space? These are the things you should be thinking about. And then I want you to be 100% authentic. And I think this is very important, especially going into 2023. I want you to be yourself, because the only way we get ahead authentically and where we need to be and be in organizations and spaces that we need to be is by us being authentic and not holding back who we are, because that is what makes us who we are. And it is what a lot of organizations now, they're looking for people with a certain type of characteristics that they think are going to be beneficial on their team. And that comes out of the authenticity of your character, of the person that you are. Are you a kind person? Do you like to make jokes? Well, let this show in your networking. Like, let this show and let people know, like, you're this personable type of person. Don't just try to be so professional or whatever the case might be. Just be yourself. And if anybody has any problems with that, let them at me or something. So professional networking in 2023. And this slide might be a little bit overwhelming. And for those who are not on YouTube right now, you should go on YouTube and definitely like and subscribe if you have not as yet. But it's a slide that shows all the different platforms that you can use networking for in 2023. So on the top, we have LinkedIn, then we have Instagram, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, TikTok, an email sign, Twitter, and the phone. And I think utilizing LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok and Twitter could be very great platforms. I've heard a lot of great things about getting connections and building networks on these platforms from people and throughout different episodes of my podcast. So I think it's great if you're able to, and I'm not saying that everyone, okay, let me caveat everything here. You don't have to get on any of these platforms if you don't want to. There are a lot of amazing people doing great public health work, great health equity work that are not on any of these social media platforms. And I think that's perfectly fine. However, in 2023, the best way to build your brand, to build the awareness so people know who you are is by getting on these platforms and by sharing great information. And I think it's like so important nowadays. And I had a recent guest on my podcast who said, you know, it's important for professionals to share science communication and health communication more broadly, because we too often get just down in our holes and aren't able to relate what we're learning and the important work to the community, to the public. And I think this is very important, especially in public health work. So be sure to do that. And I'm going to go into more examples of LinkedIn and using LinkedIn, but all these other platforms are really great tools that you can use to build your network. And going back to that, it's like being intentional about it and knowing what you're going to the platform to do. If you're going to watch funny videos, that's fine, but just know you're going to the platform to do that at this point in time. But if you're going on there to network and to build connections, then be intentional about that and use that time to really reach out and find out who are the people that inspire you, who are the people that you want to have informational interviews with, because this will be very helpful. Okay, so I'm going to go to my LinkedIn demonstration now. So first and foremost, if you don't follow me on LinkedIn, you should probably follow me on LinkedIn. Actually, don't follow me, connect. And that's the first thing I wanted to talk about, actually. And I'll show you all an example. So I'm just going to I'll just look up something simple, public health. don't mind like I messed up how to spell it. But regardless. Okay, so you see how, okay, I'm looking for a good example here. Wow, this is not a good, okay, let's go consulting. Let's see what we find in consulting. Okay, this is exactly what I want to highlight here. How you can see when you're trying to connect with people on LinkedIn, you can see on the side of the screen here, it says either follow or connect with someone. And there's a big difference in following and connecting. LinkedIn recently released a feature where people can become quote unquote creators on the platform. And I think it's cool in the sense that now that people are able to follow you as opposed to just connecting with you. But I would just warn you to be intentional in who you're following versus who you're connecting. I always ask people that I meet in online or whatever to connect with me, or I will connect with them, because when you connect with someone, they are able to see what you post on your timeline, what you share, what you like, what you comment on, as opposed to when you follow someone, they are not able to see any of the activities that you do on LinkedIn. So that's why I think it's important for you to really think about, okay, do I want to follow this person or do I want to connect with them? And I think it's awesome in the sense that you could maybe follow them at first and see if it's someone that you want to continue to follow, and then reach out and connect with them. So you're given that ability to follow and then connect. And one thing that I did want to point out, just in case you're like, oh, I don't know how to follow, how to connect with someone if they are a creator on LinkedIn. And if my laptop will move any quicker, I'll show you. So you can see that it only says follow here. It doesn't give you the option to select connect, just connect. But what you can do is go to more and you can click that connect button right there. And high key note here is you can see you can customize this invitation. You can add a note to personalize the invitation. And I absolutely think you should 100% of the time send a personalized note, whether it's a very brief 2 sentences or a longer paragraph. And we'll go through some examples of that in a bit, but definitely send a note. It just personalizes things. You don't know how many connections this person is getting. You don't know how busy their inbox is. So really do as much as you can to set yourself apart. So iterating myself here, reiterating, I should say, know who you're going to follow versus who you're going to connect with. I advise you to connect with more people than you follow people, because that just broadens your network and allows you to leverage the power of social media to grow. Okay, now let me show you some examples of how you can think about building a network on LinkedIn if you're interested in doing this. So me and Alejandra, as I said earlier, both went to University of Florida. So I can click on University of Florida, and I can click on University of Florida. So it takes me to the University of Florida page. And the awesome thing here is there's an alumni tab. So I just click on that alumni tab. And as I was saying earlier, let's say someone was interested in getting into health tech. And specifically, let's say they wanted to work at Amazon. So we go to the alumni tab on the University of Florida page. As you can see, it's probably going to show me people that I may know just because of the connections. And you can see another thing on LinkedIn is you can see how many mutual connections you have. So the more mutual connections you have, the more likely you are someone that this is going to be someone that you have known, or you've run across them, or you have some kind of acquaintance or weak connection with them. And I advise that you connect with them. There's no loss in doing that. Just send a message if you do know. So go back to the example. Let's say I wanted to search Amazon. So I'll just type in Amazon into this box. As you can see, there are almost 4,000 people from the University of Florida who have some kind of relationship at Amazon. So what I can do here is I can look and see, and this is the tough thing about going about it this way, is that when you're looking at it, it's hard to see who's doing like more public health related work. And what's cool here is I can see that she works in life sciences. So that sometimes is it shows you that someone is working in more public health, more biology type roles during at a tech company, sorry. So just take note of that. So click on that, and you can look at her education. So she has an MS in occupational therapy, a BS in psychology. She works at Amazon as an account executive in the healthcare life sciences sector. So that's a really cool thing. Okay, now we found out how to find different people through school connection to find another organization. So let's do it the opposite way. Let's say we want to go to Amazon, and this is always best for bigger organizations, but LinkedIn is becoming a really powerful tool for finding a lot of different organizations. So I highly recommend you get on there, and I'll go through another example with a small organization. If any of you have organizations you want me to look into, please feel free to drop that in the chat, and I will look into that organization. So when you go to Amazon's page here, you can go to people, and what you can do from here is you can type in public health. And wow, look at that. So we have Anisha Gaston, we have Amber Swanson. So let's open up those pages and just take a quick look at their profile, see if it's someone that I might be interested in connecting to, if I'm interested in getting a position at Amazon, if I'm looking into building more relationships at Amazon or any other like tech company, any other company. And feel free to drop a company you want me to look into in the chat, as I just said. Or if you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. Appreciate you all hopping on. Apologize for the technical difficulties, but so it goes. So I love this in the sense that I already know she's an MPH person. She has LinkedIn Premium, so she can see that I'm viewing her profile. We can see that she's a technical sourcing recruiter, which is awesome. If you're trying to work at Amazon, this is the type of people that you want to connect with. And what I think is also kind of awesome from here too is that they show you people also viewed. So let's say this person has the same kind of interest or profile. LinkedIn will use this algorithm to show you other similar people. You could either connect with them, or as you can see, I know a couple of people that people also viewed. So feel free to use that how you like. And then the other public health example, Amber Swanson, she works in cloud technology, healthcare and life sciences, and public health. Let's see what her public health background is. So she has a master's of public health, just a bachelor's of sociology, chemistry minor. As you can see, oh, that's cool. She worked in Hawaii for a bit and then moved back to Chicago. Where is she based out of? Chicago. That's awesome. And I do not know these people. I did not look up this earlier. But this is definitely someone that is would be of someone that this would be someone of interest if you were interested in learning more about public health in tech jobs or whatever the case might be. Okay, so I want to make another public health example. Let's see, you want to go CDC Foundation. So you go to the CDC Foundation. As you can see here, it says who I already have connections with, which I think is also a great thing that you should use to your benefit. Like, okay, who at the CDC Foundation do I have a connection with? And you can see, okay, there are all these people I can reach out to that are already in my network, already at least in my LinkedIn network. How do I bring them into my closer 0.5, 50, 0.5, point fifth, I don't know how to say it, 0.5 degree in, like, bring them as a close acquaintance and friend. So I think this was a great example. But if you wanted to just go back and look at more people, maybe you wanted to find out specifically someone who's doing biostats, and hopefully I can spell biostatistics correctly the first time. Okay, the 84 employees at the CDC Foundation that work in biostats that are on LinkedIn. Just remember, a lot of people are not on LinkedIn. So this is cool. So, like, let's say I wanted to do some biostats works for the CDC Foundation. This is a great way to start and do that research and be intentional in reaching out to people who have walked your path, have done the type of roles that you're interested in. These are the people that you should reach out to. You should ask informational interviews and really try to build relationships and just understand how you can break into this organization or this part of the field, or just tips and tricks from real life people. And as I always say, use LinkedIn, stalk people on LinkedIn. It's a great resource to really look at someone's career progression and take what you need from that and grow from there. Last thing I wanted to talk about while I'm on LinkedIn as a demonstration is optimization. And I'll talk more about LinkedIn optimization in another live or video or whatever the case might be. Let me know if you're interested in that. Leave a comment. Let me know if you're interested. But what do you think about LinkedIn optimization? You want to ensure that the keywords that you're searching for, that you're looking for, are going to be in your profile. So whether if you're a creator, it could be in your hashtags, it could be in your headline on top here, as well as in your about section or in your experiences, in the description for your experiences. But I'll talk more about that in another session of this. So getting back to the presentation here, I'm going to take a sip of water. And let me know if any of this is helpful for you all that are watching this live right now. Greatly appreciate you all hopping on once again. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. A lot more of these videos are going to be coming out. Hopefully, a lot more live sessions, a lot more workshops in 2020. Not hopefully, they are going to be. So be sure to stick around to subscribe, to follow, and all that good stuff. So keys when reaching out to people. As I shared earlier, I shared how you can look at someone's profile and see if you're following them or connecting with them. So this is really when you're connecting with someone, because when you're connecting with someone, as you saw earlier, you can add a personalized note, which is something that I recommend you do because it's going to be more beneficial than hurtful. So you want to make sure that your LinkedIn is optimized, and I'll talk more about that in another session. So be sure to subscribe. But when you're reaching out to someone, you want to be short. So you don't want to be writing paragraphs, and I think LinkedIn limits you to a certain amount of characters, so you can't write too long of a paragraph, but I think less is more. So definitely do the most you can do with that. Mimic a real conversation. Like try to type and talk as best as you would in real life, because I think that is most helpful, and just makes you not sound like a robot, makes you sound like a real person that you can connect with and you can learn one. So just do that. Flatter the person, maybe not excessive flattery, but hey, I really enjoyed your podcast that you did with this guest. I really learned so much about this. or I'm so excited for the post that you made about this. Like just sharing that a compliment with that person and making them feel good about themselves is something that you should think about when you're reaching out to someone. Leave a strong impression. Don't leave a bad impression, especially in your free messages. Do not leave a bad impression. And last but not least, send another message. A lot of people, myself included, I open LinkedIn messages sometimes and I forget to respond to them, or I'm just too busy sometimes, and then like just a bunch of messages. It's hard to get to any of them. So send another message so you're at the top of the inbox, so that you're at the top of the LinkedIn chat, so someone can see you there. The don'ts. You don't want to just go in your first message when you're connecting with someone and just say, hey, hello, how are you? As just one sentence, one question. Do not do that. Do not do that. I also don't want to be someone that pitches in the first time you're talking to someone. And that could be both in pitching your business. Hey, do you want to buy this from me? Or in the sense like pitching, here's my resume. Are there any jobs you can help me with? You don't want to be that person coming off, because no one wants that kind of person approaching them. No one wants to build authentic or I should say no one, but I should say that it's really hard to build a basis for a foundational relationship that you want to build when you're approaching your first interaction with this person and this connection in that way. So if you're interested in really making authentic, real connections, you want to stick around for this last part as I go through examples. And these are literally templates that you can take, copy and paste it and send it out to people, just change names and whatnot. And maybe if I get enough time, I'll create a template that you all can download and just copy and paste and use it from there. But if not, just come to the video on YouTube, pause it, and then use the templates from there. So an online feature, this is like someone that you see maybe on my podcast, or you see on a TV interview or the news or something, and they're talking about something cool. That's one thing I love about LinkedIn these days, is that you can pretty much find most people, like especially people that are on social media or not online on LinkedIn, and you can reach out to them. So you can be like, hey, Omari, I saw your feature on the Public Health Millennials Public Health Career Podcast. I really enjoyed hearing about your career journey. I would love to connect. Thank you. Simple, sweet. Excuse me. So next one is the friend or acquaintance. So this is just someone that you already know, that you already have some rapport with in real life, and you just want to like connect with them on LinkedIn to build that network, to really see what they're doing on the online side of things. So here, Mari, you're my biostats 101 for horses class. Would be great to connect. Would love to catch a coffee sometime. Thanks. Your name. Really simple, really to the point, just seeing where you know them from. Would be great to connect. Let's catch a coffee sometime. And then you create a conversation from there. Just like really try to be conversational in how you're writing this. Approach it like a real person would. Professor, preceptor, or boss, this is how you should send the connection. Hey, Professor X, I'm really enjoying your public health policy course. The lecture on X was very informative for me. I learned this. It would be great to connect with you on LinkedIn. Thanks. Your name. So really simple, once again, just like sharing where you got value from them, giving them a compliment in some way, letting them know that the information that they share with you has been beneficial, or whatever the case might be. Let them know that the connection or the project that they let you work on was helpful. Just letting them know that you're appreciative for them in whatever capacity that might be. So the next one is an online event, a webinar, or a conference. So let's say you go to the APHA, you connect with someone in person and you want to connect with them on LinkedIn. So you can just reach out, be like, hey, Omari, it was great to connect with you at APHA in Boston. I admire your work in the maternal and child health, and give them a specific story, a specific skill that you learned or that you want to highlight here. And then go on to say, I'm working to develop in this space, and it'd be great to connect. So just really sharing that you admire this skill set or this particular part of their career, and that's something that you've learned from. If there's something like more deep that you learned, like share it. Once again, don't be too long-winded, and then ask for the connection. So for an informational interview, I think this will probably be most helpful to most people. If you're thinking about going through that entire process of looking at an organization, looking at people in the organization that might be people that you want to connect with, that you might want to learn from, definitely just go into reaching out to people, trying to set an informational interview. This mightn't be the first message that you send someone, but definitely it could be the second one. I don't think it's a huge negative if it's the first message you send someone, but it's always best, as you said, like build a relationship. But going into the informational interview, it'd be like something like, "Hey Omari, I really admire your career progression and the work you do in the health equity space. I'm currently an MPH student at X, focusing on developing X. I'm learning more about the field and path I want to take. I would really appreciate if we could set up 15 minutes to chat. Let me know if you're open to this. Thank you," and your name. So I just be like to the point, trying to let them know like what parts of the journey or what about their career is something that has made you interested in wanting to connect with them, wanting to learn more about them, wanting them to invest time into you understanding and better navigating your career through their insights and knowledge. And then I think this is the last one, but you being the plug. So really thinking about how can you connect people with more people. This is a rule that people, I think, underappreciates a lot. But if you're a connector of people, that's a huge skill set in itself that is super beneficial. Building relationships is super, super key in a lot of public health rules. And I think this is key. And also you thinking about your professional networking. So for example, for this, it could be like, "Hey, Omari, I really love your show and how you have a variety of public health professionals on." And I forgot to write this out, but it was going to say, "I really love your show and how you have a variety of public health professionals on. I have a colleague working in this space who I think would be really great to be on your podcast. It'd be great if I have a colleague in this space, working in this space, so I think would be very like helpful for students on your show. Would love to connect you all with them." And I'll change these slides and I'll be sure to add them to the show notes so people can click on them and read them if you're listening to this. But yeah, just trying to be the plug is something that I think is also that is underutilized in public health. And then just a recap of everything that we went over today, like networking is important. I think it's something that everyone should utilize. Don't think of it as something that should give you anxiety. Really think of it as your network is who are your friends and who are your friends of your friends and who are your friends of your friends of your friends. And I think you'll be able to approach it from a much more relationship set mindset to build. Be intentional in setting your goals around networking, like really go into it knowing what you're trying to get out of it. Don't just go in there trying to connect with people to connect with people. Think about how is this going to benefit me? How can I support this person or whatever the case might be? Like just trying to continue to add value, to build relationships, to share insights or things that you care about, both in public health and outside of public health. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of intersections that make relationships stronger. Use social media as a tool. I know social media can be great and it could be also very bad, but I think it's all about how we use it. And it has given us the ability to connect and build relationships with so many people in so many places around the world. So I definitely think that you should be utilizing social media in whatever capacity you'd like. LinkedIn at the lowest level, and then you can use other platforms to build off of that. But social media should be used as a tool to build your network, to build your relationships, to really understand how you want to progress in your career and find those insights from social media, as well as you can listen to my podcast as you are right now. And I just gave you some example templates to use. So be sure to use those. I think it's really important that as you approach 2023, you come with a fresh slate, like you're ready to take on the new year, and just know that there's so much that you can do. So just be intentional in everything that you do, and you never know where you will be. You never know who is going to be in a place that is going to be able to connect you or help you. So be nice to people, be kind to people, have a happy holidays, enjoy your time, take some rest. Peace, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Be sure to subscribe, to leave a review, and like this. Appreciate you all. Peace.